Peter.
Yep.
What do you know about this?
Hey, man, we're talking about practicing scales, not having fun. Oh, it's not what you think.
I'm Adam Maness.
And I'm Peter Martin.
And you're listening to the You'll Hear podcast.
Daily music advice coming at you. We'll do it.
So today we're talking about how to practice scales. This
Yes.
sounds terrible.
This sounds boring AF.
But it's not. And, scale practice should be a part of every improviser's practice routine because it can be so crucial to being able to understand the theory behind what you're playing, but also just give you some technical chops to get around all keys, to get around any changes. It's super important. And the ways that we're going to talk about today actually help you understand the notes of the scale in a much deeper way and in a way that is not so linearly boring as just running it up and down. And the first way we're going to address this is by using thirds, triads, and seventh chords. These are breaking up the scales in basic symmetrical shapes that come in really, really handy. I mean, these are so fundamental that you should be putting these in your practice routine immediately today for how you practice scales. So what I mean by thirds is if you're practicing in C, that's playing in thirds, right? That's the C major scale, exactly.
Because you hear it and then you see it.
That seems super fundamental, but have you done that in, again, like A flat?
Yeah.
You start to learn, if you're a pianist, you can play these two as double stops.
Yes.
But then when you get into things like the half whole scale, they become super crucial for understanding the relationships of these thirds and how they work together.
And I'm going to throw a little audible in here, if you'll allow me here.
Yeah.
And that is, I'll try to give kind of what we've talked about is creative scale practice, which is really next level once you know these techniques and are comfortable with them.
Yeah.
And perhaps, like we said, the point of this is it should never get boring.
Right.
I mean, you're not playing a Beethoven sonata or a Thelonious Monk ballad.
Yeah.
But it should be challenging, it should be engaging, and you should be putting these together in new ways. So once the thirds, the broken thirds, and then as you go on and show the triads and sevenths, once you've got that and you're like, well, I can do that too. So think about creative ways. How do you change it up?
Yeah, you change the direction.
Yeah.
Totally. And then you can add complexity. So let's say we want to do triads, or you call them broken fifths, but again, this is the half whole diminished scale. Those can add such... Exactly.
Yep.
I think I messed that up.
I know. When I call it broken fist, that is wrong, I guess, because technically broken fist would be like, which is good too, right? That's a good one to practice.
Also good. And then once you get into sort of seventh chords, so I'll go back to, let's do like a C minor Dorian thing.
Yeah.
Then these shapes become, now we're talking about like shapes that are going to be so crucial to your improvising.
Yes.
Every single one of these, so that when you see a 2-5 in B flat, you know that this like G minor 7 shape is part of that C Dorian sound, or that A half diminished shape.
Yes.
Those seventh chords are all part of that Dorian sound.
And this is really, we're getting into the link between, that's so crucial to understand on just a technical level, but also getting into concepts of improvisation between arpeggios and scales.
Right.
Because some of you might be like, you're practicing arpeggios, but what's the scale?
Right. That's right.
And at each different place, but you're getting that kind of connection that's very organic to the way that we actually improvise with single lines.
And then when we were talking about thirds, you mentioned you can switch up the directions. And once you get to these four notes,
now you got choices.
you have so many, like, down, up. I mean, there's just like...
Yeah, and if somebody annoying is like, I've mastered all those, every one. I was like, okay, well then change it up every time. Get creative.
Right. We're trying to trick our brains into really mastering all possibilities of these things, and it can be eye-opening what you don't know. So that was just one key too that we were just doing.
And in just one scale.
So the kind of top level is in non-symmetrical shapes, in custom shapes.
Yep.
Like we were talking about this kind of when we were introing this, and you were like, "Is this a custom shape?" Well, it kind of is here. Like if I'm in the C Dorian, I'm in this shape. Can I move this up the scale?
Ooh. You might be pushing a slot machine up that scale there, buddy.
Yeah, this is casino. Can I do it going down? These are all technical things that we need to work on, but and then also just coming up with different shapes. I love this shape here. Like one step and then up a fourth and then up a third.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like, but just finding shapes that work. It could even just be like super
always
tough shape.
new, yeah.
Yeah, but really you will get to know the scales and the notes available in the scales in a way that is super, super deep.
Yeah, I don't do enough of that. I like that. I'll just put a little creative scale practice next level thing for that. And that would be then once you do that, say over the Dorian or anything, then do it chromatically. Because any of these shapes.
Yeah.
And then, once it's always good creatively to get yourself out of one way of thinking when you're thinking modally or diatonically, and then you go straight chromatic.
Now, the next level to all of this, whether it's
Level
thirds, triads, seventh chords, or custom shapes, is running this over what we call scale running.
Right.
And typically we think of scale running like if we're doing, again, a 2/5 and B flat, maybe we do a Dorian and then a half whole and then like a Lydian, right? So we'll start with the Dorian, half whole, and then a Lydian, and switch directions wherever you feel like. That's just the boring linear version of this.
So just to clarify, because some people may not understand that terminology, it's basically playing a scale in a continual linear manner up or down over specific chord changes.
Right, exactly. And switching
and the corresponding scale.
Right, switching the scale when the chord change. So if we're doing like Autumn Leaves and B flat, right?
And generally sticking with a static rhythm. I mean, in this case, just you're going straight 8 notes.
And you can improvise, changing directions at will. Now, if we start adding things like thirds to this.
Ooh, broken thirds.
Or triads. Now we're having to really get our brain together and switch those notes. Then custom shapes. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like if we take that one custom shape, and then we go to the half whole,
Yep.
Some really interesting stuff starts to pop out.
Yeah.
It's super awesome.
I like it.
Okay, our fourth way to practice scale.
Level 4.
#
level 4.
This seems counterintuitive, but it's really taking whatever scale, even if we do it in a linear way or in thirds or triads or seventh chords or custom shapes, but practicing them super, super slow.
Yes.
We are always trying to push ourselves to play faster or more powerfully or whatever. But if we can practice these things in a very deep and slow way, they're going to stick a lot faster.
That's right. And you can kind of challenge yourself with some of the other technical attributes depending on your instrument that you're working on by slowing things down always. And it's no different for scales. That's when you really know, because we're never working on this stuff in a vacuum. Because there's already like a certain amount of musicality that's taken away. So because you're not playing a piece, you're not improvising it. But what you can do is work on several, especially at the more advanced level, work on several aspects of your technique. Not only you should, be it time with a metronome, be it, playing slowly where you're really listening to evenness maybe, which, as pianists,
dynamics,
as a trumpet player,
articulations. These can all happen at slower tempos. So do not just start pushing your metronome up and up and up and up. Take some time with the slow tempo.
And the reason we push this a little bit level 4 is because, this is not the kind of practice we're talking about like when you have to do everything slow because you're still learning the scales. This is about once you get them and then you're kind of starting to go crazy, scale running and all that. And then you're like, let's slow it down and really check our foundational thing. Always a good thing to put into your routine.
All right, so we were talking about scale running. This is a bonus. We're all done with the episode, but I have a bonus tip for you, YouTube. So
number 5 bonus.
Let's say we're playing impressions.
Okay.
No, let's say we're playing impressions.
Oh.
You totally missed it. I say, let's say we're playing impressions, and then you say we're playing impressions.
We're playing impressions.
Thank you.
Okay.
No, so if we're playing impressions, say we have a custom shape, like the shape that's kind of fourth, right?
Yeah.
So one thing that Jeffrey Keyser talked about in his Keys to Jazz Piano course is taking these like multiple tonic systems. Like let's say we want to do, we're all over D minor here, but we want to take it outside. You can scale run over one chord, but you're taking it outside, and it's a great way to do it. So take these shapes in major thirds. So I do the first two shapes over D minor, and then I take it a major third up, F sharp. And then I take that up a major third, B flat. And then I'm back at D.
Yeah.
Right? These are just simple ways you could practice scales, but also like practice going outside.
And the way I typically, there's a number of ways that can be done, but I think the two examples that always come to mind for me are that one where you're going up major thirds or down, and then also diminished.
Exactly
where
right.
you go minor, because you get the symmetry of moving through and getting back in either 3 or 4.
You could do the same thing. D, F minor, A flat, B minor.
And the great thing about practicing these is you're getting the technical agility and placement, but you're also getting the specific ideas and getting it into your ears, what these sound like. So it doesn't matter if some of them don't work as good. That's actually good because you're learning what they sound like. Totally. There's going to be a time when you can apply it. That's about training your ears at the same time you're training your technique.
And check out that. I mean, that sounds totally, and that sounds super static when we do them this way, and some of them don't sound as good. But like, if you can start making music out of them.
Right. How do you polish the churn?
You know what I mean? Then all of a sudden we're doing something interesting.
Yeah. And remember, we've said this before, but probably not often enough. If you're not practicing things that some of the things that you're practicing should be sounding wrong and bad or not as good.
Yep.
Like not everything is supposed to sound great. Otherwise you're not practicing.
Yeah.
Like we're trying to learn the good, the bad, and the ugly.
That's awesome.
All right.
Awesome. All right. Well, this is fun.
This was fun. Good to be back, man. The hat's looking good. Got it dry cleaned and everything, Look, YouTube, leave us a comment below. We've been getting a lot of likes on our videos. And look, we didn't totally figure this out. What did we decide about this little? Are we going to do that on the next YouTube
our
video?
metronome stickers? We might do a giveaway for our metronome stickers.
We might do a little giveaway.
You can see it on my computer here at YouTube. I got my You'll Hear It metronome sticker.
And you can see it. This is custom. This is limited edition. There's only 2 right now. But if we get some more, you know what? Actually, you know what? We're going to do this. If we get 5, I'm calling audible. If we get 500 likes.
That's not that many.
Oh, it's not?
No, yeah, but let's do it.
But within a week. We want 500 likes. Within a week, we will get some more of these and do a giveaway for these custom. You can't really see, but it says You'll Hear It, and it's the metronome, and it's going to go on there, and you're going to love it, and
you'll hear it.